Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here. Let me start turning down some of these devices. Man, I've got too many darn devices, but don't want to be interrupted midstream, and I know how that goes. So I'll go ahead and do it at the beginning. All right, turn down those. Hopefully, everybody's gotten their week off to a great start, a solid start. You have an idea of what it is you want to accomplish. You have some specific micro goals that are moving you towards your ultimate goals or your 90-day, 6-month, 1-year goals, whatever. In other words, there has to be order. There has to be some form of order in process. Capriciousness, ambiguity, nebulosity, all that cloudiness that is aware that something's out there but not necessarily know where it's at, will have you roaming around in this vast potential of consciousness in the universe, knowing something is out there, unbelievable, phenomenal, exceptional, but not knowing exactly how to get it. When you start to clarify what it is you want with high levels of specificity, you begin to see a path develop. And it's in moving through this path, it's in creating momentum moving through this path that you begin to understand who you are, what you are, where you're going. And the more defined that idea becomes for you, the more connected to it you become. It's like you see so many people that start something, don't finish it, start something, don't finish it. Number one is, it's a good chance you don't know what you're after, or you are more fixated on the path than you are on the destination. In other words, you see a path, the people on the path look comfortable, the people on the path look happy, the people on the path look like they have this unbelievable life, so you jump on the path. But if the path isn't connected to your passion, if the path isn't connected to your purpose, no matter how much fun you have on it or how much success you experience on it, you won't have fulfillment. And there's something about the lack of fulfillment that will completely drain you. You'll sit up and you'll look at all these little things that you said, if I just had this, my life would be, you'll have it and you still won't have fulfillment. And so there is that need for fulfillment. Then other people know something is out there, but they look at the path. And the moment that the path becomes difficult, the moment that the path, and every path has a moment of obstruction, a moment of delay, a moment of disruption. Nobody's path just soars straight down a straight line towards their destination. And this I can tell you as well, is that when you make up in your mind that it's something valuable, something worthwhile that you want, the more valuable and worthy of your greatest and your most it is, the more it's going to demand out of you. The more you're going to have to give up, the more you're going to have to sacrifice, the more risk you're going to have to take. You're not going to get that next level by sitting up and coasting to it. It's not going to happen. So I hope that you have some clear ideas of what it is you want to do. And then when you get the clear ideas of what it is you want to do and you commit to it, you take the first step. The how will begin to explain itself. You don't get the how in being something you've never been before you take the commitment first. You cannot sit up and see everything, because the things, what's up, Isaiah? The thing is this, that in order to become something that you're not, in order to have something you've never had, it requires that you do some things differently. It requires that you become someone that you are not yet. So when you make up in your decision that, okay, I'm going to become an owner of a multi-million-dollar company, or I'm going to go out for my first time and I'm going to make a marriage work, or I'm going to become exceptional at parenting, or I'm going to start a nonprofit that actually works in the community and delivers A, B, and C. I'm going to actually be an impact in the community in a way that I've never done before. But when you start addressing these aspirations to do exceptional things above what you've ever done, the first thing you're going to find is that if you try to make a decision whether or not you're going to do it solely based on being able to understand and map out and strategize and come up with all the critical layouts and blueprints that's necessary to get through it, if you're depending on that to make the decision, you're never going to make the decision. You're never going to jump to the next level by being able to critically examine what it will take and have all the answers. Because if you had all the answers, it'll be done already. So what it means is you don't get what you want, you get who you are. You get what you have become to this point. So if it's something you want to do beyond what it is you've been doing, you've got to give yourself the room to grow. And you've got to understand that all the answers won't be readily available at the point you make the decision. You've got to make the decision and then allow the how to explain itself. And that comes in growth, in connectivity, in research, in learning, in being mixed with the right people, connecting the right network, creating the right circle. It doesn't come by sitting up and saying, I've got the answers, I'll do it. Because if you had all the answers, you had everything you needed, all the resources you needed, it would be done already. It's the risk that it takes to step out and go get it. What if I approach this person and they reject me? What if they look at me and tell me I'm stupid? What if they say I don't have what it takes? See, the one thing that you've got to get in your mind before you engage upon anything is who you are and what you're capable of. Just because you don't have it now, just because you don't have the knowledge, the wisdom, the connectivity, the resources, the experience, doesn't mean that it's not possible. It doesn't mean that it's not on the inside of you. It simply means you haven't reached that point yet in your journey. You got to be clearly acquainted with who you are. You got to know inside of me is everything I need to be, everything I desire to be. That's a part of my natural makeup. It's ingrained and embedded in my DNA. I might not be that yet, but nothing can stop me from becoming that except me. So when I go to someone, whether they say they agree with my projections or they think that I'm good enough to do it, or if they sit up and tell me that there's no chance in hell that I can get it done, that doesn't change me. It just means you're not the person I can work with. So I'm going to go off and I'm going to find somebody that can see beyond the moment, because that's where things are actually developing beyond the moment. They're developing in the fifth dimension, in the fourth dimension, where they come out as ideas and thoughts, and then they develop over time and evolve into a third dimensional reality where they are tangible and touchable, and you can experience them in this world. But they begin in my mind and along the lines of believing that if I can conceive it in my mind, it's possible, and that's where I start. So, I just want you to really wake up every day having an idea of where you're going, having an idea that it may not happen as quick as you thought it would, but if you can see progress, you're moving towards your destiny. If you can look at yourself and say, I'm not the person I was last month or last year or 5 years ago, then you're making progress. You got to understand that most of your journey won't be these great leaps that everybody celebrates and sees. Most of your journey are micro progressions that nobody will see but you, or somebody really close and intimate with you, that you can celebrate those things with. But you need to be able to recognize them and celebrate them, because that's where your fulfillment and happiness actually comes from. Imagine if only time you actually got to celebrate life was when you reached your 90-day goal and your 6-month goal and your 1-year goal. That's 3 times in a 12-month period. That's 3 days out of 365 that you celebrate yourself. If that's the only time that it's happening, what's going on the other 362 days? How are you keeping yourself up? How are you staying motivated? How are you staying inspired? How are you serving your passion? How are you honoring your purpose if you're only celebrating 3 days out of a year? Some of you get to that 90-day goal win and you celebrate the rest of the year. That's not good either. Look, I'm gonna move into what I really want to talk about. That just got on me when I started talking. First and foremost, if you haven't heard, Isaiah Young here, you've already ordered yours, so they drop officially. They start going out this week. You'll get yours, but this is Critical Mass, the phenomenon of next level living. Book number 20. As always, I get giddy every time I do anything that I set my mind to. I don't care how small or how many times I've done it in the past. I give myself permission to celebrate. Nobody else has to celebrate with me or for me. I do that myself because I know there have been times in my life when nobody was there to celebrate with me. With those who are there with me now, great, and you're appreciated and loved, but it's not something I need, so I just get giddy. But anyway, this is close to 400 pages. It was up to 700, and that's what took so long. I was like, okay, how can I get this in? And it just got with my team is like, look, you're not getting all that in one book, because if you could even get it in one book, which you can't, that book would be so heavy, uh, both literally and figuratively, that nobody would pick it up. And so you need to really think about having a follow-up that doesn't necessarily have to be a part two or a sequel, but just the rest of what's resting inside of you. And I say that, you know what, when I looked at it with the things that I'm passionate about, this is book number 20. And when I sit down and I submitted my final draft, I realized at that point I got 20 more easy in me. I haven't sat down and even given any thought to how that's going to play out over the next couple of decades or whatever, but I know I have 20 in me. And so, but this is something that I think will be beneficial to anybody that's looking to change their lives and get more out of their lives. It's a peek inside of my mind and how I work with the people I work with. So the link to Art of the Book, Friday was supposed to be the last day that the book was going to be at the pre-release price, but I bumped that up to the day. Tomorrow is actually the official release date, so it will go up to the regular price, but today is the last day to order it at the pre-release price at that link. Over the next couple of weeks, you will start to see the book being available at all of the normal book distributions, Sony Books, to Barnes & Noble, to Amazon, to Kodo, and it's a bunch, Kobo, and a bunch of them other ones that books are at. And it'll be there. It'll be at all of those. But, you know, so for those who like to go through other places, you know, I got Amazon Prime, so do your thing. It'll be there. You know, and obviously, just something to keep in mind, though, obviously, the closer you get to ordering from the actual source, the more goes to the actual source. When you go to places like Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and all of that, they get a bigger portion of the cut. Obviously, they're major distributors and things of that nature, and that's fine. However it goes with me, that's a part of the process. I'm going to get some that are going to order from me, some I'm going to order from Amazon, some I'm going to order for Sony, Barnes & Noble, and all that, and that's all good at the end of the day. I want the book distributed. I want the book in the hands of people who can take it and do something with it. But just keep in mind, for those who have an idea of supporting people that they believe in, supporting Black business, supporting great minds, support whatever it is that you have an idea you support. Just keep that in mind from a business perspective. Now, moving on to what I actually stopped in to talk to you about, the dignity of choice. You know, it's something, when you think about what we're capable of as human beings, when you think about the unbelievable potential that exists in us, the ability for us to engage things from critical thought and at the same time use our creativity and imagination to bring things into existence that don't already exist. It's amazing. And what I found is that while we are, quote unquote, as it is defined in social culture, the most intellectual species or living being or living thing on this planet, we're the only living species in existence, from plants to bugs, that don't automatically live at our full potential. The tree grows to its full potential. It digs in roots as deep as it can to grow to its full potential. It's embedded in it. It does what it does. The bug and the ant, they hunt. They do what they do to their fullest potential. They don't make conscious decisions to find comfort. They do what they do. If they're in a situation, it's because they've gone to as far as they can go to get out of that situation, and they can't find their way out for whatever reason. But it's embedded in them to be, the lion is going to be the best lion that they can physically be, and it's not something they give thought to. They just get up and they are a lion, and the gazelle is the gazelle, and and all of these, and the rose is the rose, and the lily is the lily, and all of this. But the human has a choice of just simply accepting the norm and being average are going after everything that's inside of them to be the best possible they can be. And how is that? It's the dignity of choice. Well, whether you believe in the traditional idea of creation or you are a person who believes in intelligent design, or you believe in some form of evolution, I believe in it all. I believe all of it has a place. I'm not a traditionalist in the sense of creation, but I am a person that understands when you have this type of order, it didn't come into place randomly. There are too many things that if they fall slightly out of place, we stop existing, and yet they're still there. That's order. Order has a place behind it. You don't randomly reach the numbers, the astronomical numbers that you would have to do is say, okay, just for this one thing to happen, it would have to be something, this large number, one out of this large number, and yet here we are with these unbelievable equations over and over. So there's some idea of order. Okay, well, in the order of things, we are the only beings that have the ability to exercise free volition. We can choose. If I don't like where I'm at, I can change it. If I don't like what I'm currently doing, I can do something different. If I don't like what I'm wearing, I can change it. If I don't, all of this comes. But here's the problem with free volition. See, you can call it dignity of choice, or you can call it freedom of volition. See, there's a dignity of choice. There's a dignity in being able to say, I decided to be what I am today. It is my choice to be what I am today. And I decide what I'm going to be. But see, with that comes the proclivity to seek comfort over character, comfort over strength and integrity, comfort over the exercising and execution of what I say I believe. See, faith is not simply what I believe. Faith is the execution of the actions that reflect what I believe, and they produce results. See, it requires me to make a choice. And anytime I'm making a choice to graduate from something that I consider to be menial or mediocre and to move into something I consider to be exceptional and extraordinary, I have to be willing to engage the risk. I have to be willing to get knocked down in order to move forward. I have to be willing to take some resistance and experience some difficulty and go through some struggles in order to get to this place I'm trying to get to. And most times, we have been conditioned and trained to seek comfort above character, comfort above advancement. We want comfort. We want certainty. But see, there's no certainty in exceptional. Exceptional to say, give me your best shot and I'll show you where you're at. Phenomenal says, throw your best card in the game and we'll see where it lands. You see, you've got to have something you're investing in yourself that's above and beyond what everybody's doing to get above and beyond where everybody's at. As long as you're doing what everybody else is doing, you're going to be in the group of average. That's how you get average. You get those who are absolutely exceptional. That's because they do above and beyond what everybody else does, and they'll look at differently than everybody else. Then you get everybody else that pretty much does what everybody else does, and they're pretty much stuck in that group. And then you get those that ain't gonna even do what everybody else does, and they're the underachievers and those that are at the bottom of the rung. And then you average it all out, and those in the middle are your average. Those are going to be the people that get up. You get average almost by default. If you get up every day and do what everybody else does, report to your job on time, do your work at a satisfactory level, don't have to be great, just enough not to get fired, and then you keep doing that, you'll have a job until they outsource you. You'll have a job until the company folds. You'll have a job until they pretty much run you in the ground and run you crazy and replace you. You'll have what everybody else has, and you'll go through and deal with what everybody else deals with and deal with all the stresses and the frustrations that come along with it. And then that's what you get. See, in order to have greatness, in order to have exceptional, in order to have phenomenal, you got to reach inside of you beyond the proclivity and the tendency to want to live in comfort and touch that potential of greatness, access it, activate it, and actualize it. That's how you get out of being average. You've got to look inside of you and say, there's something in me that yearns to be better than I am. There's something in me that desires to move beyond where I stand. There's something in me that won't settle. And so I'm going to go out here and do it. Now, what I can tell you is, Some of that comfort and certainty you've been experiencing in average won't exist in phenomenal. You'll wake up every day and have to put your work gloves on. You'll wake up every day and have to go to war. You'll wake up every day and have to put in work. You'll wake up every day. You could be facing a time in which you will get knocked down, kicked over, stepped on, trod upon. But what happens is when you start functioning in phenomenal, the idea of if I got knocked down, I was standing once. If I'm still breathing, I'm still in the fight. I'll get up, I'll dust myself off, I'll go back out here. And if I have to start over, I've done it once, I'll do it again. Because I now understand that inside of my design is hidden my purpose. And when I become acquainted with my purpose, I'm introduced to a passion that will push me, pick me up, hold me up, stand me up, lean, something I can lean against when it gets tough, and I'll fight through anything that comes on because now I'm living in purpose. And purpose is always bigger than me. And it's always bigger than any moment that you're going to ever go through. See, it's not in comfort. I learned that a long time ago. And luckily I did, because I got to a point in life less than a decade ago where life took its best shot, knocked me flat on my back. Looked around and all the people that were patting me on the back when I was the dude, nowhere to be found. All the people that was with their hands out when I was the dude, nowhere to be found. I looked down and I was laying on my back by myself. And if I hadn't learned the lesson that character isn't developed in comfort, some years before that, I would have folded. Because there was some times, I'm telling you, this is from me to you. This ain't something I learned in no school or no class or no course. This is me talking to you. There was some times when I was on my back, when I thought I was going to lose my mind. Then something inside of reminded me, you're built for this. You are built for this. Stand up, dust yourself out, hold your head up, square your shoulders, and put in work. And this is where I differed from so many other people that I end up coaching. This is where I differed. I didn't go begging to God as I see God, asking for no quick out. I didn't go crying and whining and pointing fingers, talking about all the people that were responsible for where I was. I owned it. And then I didn't sit up and beg for no escape. I tell my Christian brothers and sisters all the time, the reason that you feel like your prayers aren't getting answered is that God is never going to deliver you from the giants he designed and built you to slay. You have a job on this planet, a purpose on this planet. There's something on the inside of you that you have to exercise. And that will never be the answer when you go to God and say, take me out. He say, no, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Put in some work. See, what I did is I sit up, and my only question I had from the creator of all things, the ultimate superior being, the great consciousness of the universe, however you refer to it, the only thing I ask is, don't let me die yet. If you wake me up, this is my promise. Instead of asking for promises, I made one. If you wake me up, I'll answer the bell. If you wake me up, I'll answer the bell. God kept his side of the bargain. I kept mine. At some point, you've got to make a choice. In the dignity of choice, you got to determine, am I making choices and decisions and taking actions that honor me? See, that's something else Christians don't like me to say. Y'all get caught up. Now, don't get me wrong. That should be an honor of a power so unbelievable that the world is held together through the thoughts of, through the mind of. So this isn't about dismissing God, but sometimes we get caught up in God worship, hero worship so much that we miss our own mark. We get so full of false humility that the idea that there's something great in me scares us. Because if I start thinking of myself in the idea of greatness, that's arrogance. No, That's a sense of awareness of who you are. You weren't designed to be mediocre. You weren't designed to be average. You were designed to make a mark on the world around you and leave the place you landed on better than when you got there. That's a responsibility that transcends anything you think is important to you. What will your legacy say about you when you leave this place? That you simply existed? That you were a great survivor, or that you came, you saw, and you conquered? That is the end of it. What did you do? What will your progeny be able to look at you and say, I can extract from this? When I look at the man who reared me, my biological great-grandfather, my legal and social father, the only father I knew, was born one generation removed from slavery in 1909. And was the son of a sharecropper. And if you haven't done the history on sharecropping and how devastating that was to former slaves and their descendants, you need to do that. So at the age of 7, he had to leave school in the 2nd grade to go out into the fields to help his father simply make ends meet. So he didn't have a formal education, but wisdom he had. A sense of who he was he had. Knowing that he could do some things beyond what other people expected out of him, he had. And he imparted all that on me. And then he gave me the baton and he said, you got to do better than I did. So what I'm trying to get you to understand is that there's something inside of you that's beyond what you can sit up and see right now. There's something on the inside of you that you haven't tapped into just yet. You've been listening to the random opinions of others and allowing that to define your reality. And you've sunken into a place of perceived comfort. And yet you find that you're still not fulfilled, still not happy, still not really truly comfortable, because at any moment your world could come crashing down because you have absolutely no control over what's going on. I don't have any answers or any super fixes that'll put you in a place where nothing ever goes wrong. I can't make that promise. But what I can tell you is when you take control of your life, when you start to make decisions that honor you, you will automatically find that you're honoring God. Because the consciousness of God, the heart of God, the mind of God rests on the inside of your own DNA. Everything in this world is energy. Everything is matter. Everything is energy. Everything is consciousness. Every single thing. Everything is made from the same thing. That's scientific fact. Everything. If you break matter down, you get to energy. When you break energy down to its least common denominator, when you get to the zero field, everything is consciousness. Everything knows. I'm telling you what I know. Everything is there. So that means that the answer to any problem you have is there. It's somewhere in the atmosphere. It's somewhere in the universe. But you've got to have the right mindset to attract it, the right mindset to resonate with it, the right mindset to flow and connect with it. A lot of what you want, you can't connect with because you're on the wrong frequency. Negativity, focusing on what you don't have, focusing on your problems, focusing on your enemies, focusing on who did what to you, focusing on all the things that people are doing that you don't like. Shift your focus, because what you focus on, you feel. Shift your focus to what's possible. Shift your focus to what you're capable of. Fix your focus to coming up with a solution. Fix your focus to coming out of the situation. The dignity of choice brings with it both peril and promise. And at the end of the day, it's going to be you who makes the choice. I'm telling you what I know. what I've experienced. I didn't get it from some class. I didn't get it through research. I got it through living. That's what I can tell you is people will tell you what you can't do. I done did it 20 times after you told me. And I'm not one person, I mean experts in the field that I was shopping my first book with. This is 20. You told me I couldn't do it. It's 20. It's just one thing to do in my life. I was sitting down this past week and I was looking and I was checking to see how many streams of income I got. I stopped counting at 20. Don't tell me what you can't do. Start searching and looking for what you can do. Look, if you want the book, the link is in the description. If you want to examine a possibility of working one-on-one with me, the email is in the description, in the post, whatever, wherever you're watching this at, because this is going to end up on multiple. But you've got to, oh, Fiona, I'm sorry, the pre-release price is $27.99. I don't even know if Fiona's still on here, but she asked that question. Look, you are never going to be more than what your history records and logs of your behavior and your activity. Not what you claim, not what you declare, not what you wish for, not what you hope for, but what history writes. See, no matter how much somebody wants to devalue me, degrade me, invalidate me, I have a history of producing that can't be denied. I have a history of overcoming obstacles that can't be denied. I have a history of going full steam ahead when everybody's saying, please stop, you're about to crash into this wall, and totally obliterating the wall. And the thing is, there's nothing different, any different in me than the vast majority of people who haven't experienced one major accomplishment in their life, except for the fact that they won't step forward. They won't use the dignity of choice to advance them. They are seeking comfort instead of character. So you can't build character in comfort. See, character is developed in adversity. Character is developed in a point of need when you've got to make choices based on how hard it is right now. When you've got to determine whether you're going to do what's best, not only for you, but for those who are dependent upon you, despite what you're going through. Character is developed when it's challenging and when it's easy to do what's right when ain't nothing going. It's easy to do what's right when it's food in the refrigerator, when the lights are on and the water's running and the car is full of gas. It's easy to do what's right when you don't have a wife saying why. When you don't have a wife saying, baby, we need. When everything is laid out, it's easy. Let the hard times hit. Oh, then your character's tested. See, all the people who talk about choices are the people who end up in prison, and the people who end up on drugs haven't been tested yet, or they keep running from the test. Not saying you're not going to make the right choice, but it's easy to talk about choices when your choices are made within the confines of comfort. Here's the problem, though. You can stay there and make those choices and be cool and everything. But are you really in control of your life, or are you just trusting that somebody else will continuously do right by you? Because see, when you take ownership of your life and then you use the dignity of choice to advance yourself, you're going to meet resistance. It's just a part of the game. Look, I absolutely adore you. I don't care where you're at in your life. I'm at a point in my life, and I know we weigh on 5 minutes. I don't think I've ever made it under 5 minutes, to be totally honest, but okay. What's amazing to me, I'm at this point now, and it's really tripping me out. If you notice, you don't hear me really getting involved in sports talks and going after players for underperforming and choking and all the other stuff. And that's been away for a while. If you look back, you won't really see a lot of that, period. And I was like, man, you know, I see all the stuff flowing, and I'm just at a place now where I see the best in everybody, no matter where they're at. I see what they've done that they could have easily not have done based on everything against them. And I'll give you a prime example. This big thing that happened with J.R. Smith. And, you know, and I'm a former athlete, so I know the importance of being aware of everything. I know how important it is to show up in the big games. I know all of that. But when I see JR, I see a kid that's one of a few hundred people that were good enough to make it to the NBA. And then I look at where he came from and what he went through. And he's doing what almost everybody who's criticizing him can't do. That's what I see. Now, I'm not sitting up saying that as a fan, that's what I would want to see. But I'm at this place where it's hard for me to criticize people because I see some of me in them, no matter who they are. So I started looking at how could I help them do better? If I had a chance to sit down to him, what would I say to him? It wouldn't be, dog, you screwed up. I'm just at this place where it's more important to me to lift somebody than to break them down, to tear them down. I'm not going to sit up and tell you to bomb if you're not. You know, I'm not going to tell you, your crap don't stink when I know it do. What I'm saying is that's not how you build somebody up. You honestly critique them, but also come in and say, but you know what, you do so much better if you just. You know where you're hurting yourself at? You're doing this. Why don't we do it this way? But I'm just at a place right now where I'd rather see people lifted. And I would rather appreciate people for what they have done than to constantly beat them up about what they haven't. See, trying to make somebody be something you think they are will push them into a corner in which they're not being the best them they can be. They're study trying to live up to some expectation that somebody else wrote for their life. Write your own narrative. Never pass the pen that writes the narrative of your life to anyone else. And never ask someone to pass you their pen. Find out what they're writing and see if you can't help them fulfill it. With that being said, look, I'm out of here. As I always say, I'm going to live my life on full. I'm going to die on E. I guarantee you, I'm hoping that's 50 years from now. I don't want to be on 150, but 50 years from now. But whatever it is, I want to be able to leave this world knowing that I lived the best I possibly could, good with the bad, awesome choices with some horrible mistakes, but leaving a legacy said that I saw, and I comfort. I did the best I could possibly do. And that when I made a mistake, I did my best to make up for it, that I tried to correct my wrongs, that I constantly reached into the lives of other people and made those lives better, that, as my grandfather put it, I filled my space. I never left a place the same way I found it. And I can die with that. I can die with that, having left it all out there, knowing I'm not taking anything to the grave with me. With that being said, I'm going to get off of here. But look, you guys do your thing. Life is going to pass rapidly. And you're going to look up one day and it's going to be behind. The vast majority of it will be behind you. And you can only read what you've done. You can't impact it. You can't change it. You can only read it. And you want to be able to like what you read, what you're reading, because you wrote it. The worst thing in the world is to end life and have to read a narrative that's behind you that you wrote that you don't like. Because you're writing it. I don't care where you're at. You're writing it. And the worst thing that you could possibly do is get to the end of this life and start reading the story and not like what you wrote. With that being said, I'm going to get out of here. You guys have an unbelievable day. Never, ever quit on yourself. I don't care what anybody else does. I don't care what anyone else says. Never, ever quit on yourself. That's it for me today. Peace.